So we could budget something. Yeah. So you know, always like the moving around.
All right. Well, we'll get started right on time today. We're being recorded as usual, so just the normal disclaimer. Today's meeting agenda is the same as typical. We do have a Zoom presenter today, so we'll be watching on the screen here. And we'll get started with the Pledge of Allegiance. So repeat after me, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Wonderful. All right. So, four-way test of the things we think, say, and do. First,
is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will be fair.
Awesome. All right, in room today. The only guest I see in room is Howard, so we've all been quite familiar with Howard at this point. And online, unless someone has a guest at their home, I only see the speaker today. So welcome to our speaker, Rob. Yeah, we'll go ahead and move forth. So we have a Rotary Minute today. I've learned, just like you learned how to spell my last name. We're all learning. So welcome Maribeth up. Yeah, right in front of the TV is great.
So I'm not a good presenter, so I'm going to talk about fellowship. You remember one of the four-way tests is build goodwill and better friendships. And I just wanted to let you know that when I was invited to Rotary, I knew nothing about Rotary. I met Anita Sturgeon, who many of you know, through a different event. And I went to her home, and the next day I got a phone call from her saying, "Can you come to our Rotary meeting?" I had no idea what Rotary was. So I went to the meeting, and everybody was really nice, and they were very accepting. And then I went to a second meeting, and then a third meeting, and all of a sudden I had, here's the information about how to join. But what I've learned about Rotary, and this is my Rotary Minute, is that fellowship is probably one of the standards of Rotary. Is I chose to join Rotary because I needed some kind of structure in my week. I had recently retired. I was at loose ends. My husband and I were having issues because of moving, because everything else. And that Wednesday morning, I knew that I had to go to Rotary every Wednesday morning. And John, who was one of my what do they call it? Fireside chat. Between John and Barb Lutz, my arm is still sore from being twisted. But John impressed me that I had to go to every single week. I had to go to a meeting no matter what. That's since changed and relaxed a lot. But so I went to Minnesota because my husband was still working in Minnesota for 2 months, and I went to a lot of different meetings as a result of that, because I really believed that I had to do it or something was going to happen. But what it did is it taught me that this club is really a great club. This club is unique in that we all get along. I mean, I really, really appreciate the fellowship in this club. And so that was my Rotary Minute. It's all about fellowship.
Thank you. I think that was a fantastic Rotary Minute. And I have to point out Joanne's hat, because that is a very cool hat. So so we do have a few announcements today. We are working on a club social. Joe has started spearheading some of that. If you have any really good ideas, reach out to myself and I'll relay them to Joe so that Joe can get that filter for me. But it'll be on the 30th, so that'll be our 5th Wednesday. And it'll be in the afternoon. Also, heads up, if you didn't see an email from Bev from the district, the Ukraine donations through Rotary are going through the Rotary Foundation's Disaster Response Fund. So that fund has been part of spearheading Shelter Box and a number of other things. So that's a directed fund, fund. And that will go through June, in which case at that point, that's where most of that money that comes in to that fund will go to, other than like some other administrative and logistic support costs there. But that if you want to send money through Rotary, knowing that you'll get that, very transparent oversight of it, that's where it would go through.
Everybody who donates $5 for every Rotary every year, that's where your money goes, is the TRF fund.
The World Fund.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is a directed fund underneath it.
Yes.
Right, yeah. So this fund, just so that you know, this will not count towards your Paul Harris Fellowship. It's a separate fund, but it's within the same organization. And they're only going to pay for these 5 things with it. Like, so some of it obviously goes to logistics to getting things there and whatnot, but it's water, food, shelter, clothing, medicine. That's all they're paying for. And they'll send it to directed, localized NGOs that are in the field there. So it'll be, often we work with Red Cross, obviously that's a big one for us, and Save the Children. So that's where a lot of that money is going to end up going. So we've got Bob on the line for March Madness. So I don't know, Mart, if you want to jump in, Bob, and tell us about what's going on there.
Those of you who are basketball fans know that the regular season is over. The tournaments are this week to determine who finally gets into March Madness. And next week actually on Wednesday are the playing games, but you don't have to pick those. So I sent an email out either Sunday night or Monday morning. I will send out another email that will have the brackets in them. If you want to copy your own brackets off and send it to me, it's fine. If you don't know about the brackets, you need to do a little homework, I guess. But you print off something out of the paper, fill out all the winning teams that you think are going to make it to the finals, which is not until the beginning of April. Costs $10 for each one you send in. Half of the money goes to Happy Dollars. The other half will be spread amongst the entries, and the number paid will depend on the number that enter. So anybody got any questions?
Is this for women's basketball?
Give me the break. Maribeth is going to pick Wisconsin again, but they're going to get beat.
Whoa, strong words.
Someone else is going to pick Michigan.
We've got a lot of Badgers in this club, so got to be careful what you say over there. Wonderful. Any other questions? All right, if you need Bob's email, just email me and I can send it over to you. But hopefully by this point, you've got it in there from Peaches. So wonderful. Okay. Thank you so much, Bob. So the next announcement we had today was just a reminder about the Sleepout. And that's happening on March 24th. So coming up here pretty quick. Again, Joe sent out a link to his fundraising page, and you can read more about it at together.org. So now we go to Happy Bucks, and then at the end of Happy Bucks, we're going to distribute or do some pickup stuff real quick, and Ann's going to tell us how we're going to pick up our stuff after the meeting. So you're going to tell us now how we're going to do it after the meeting. We're not handing them out during the meeting. Yeah. Yeah. Happy Bucks. We'll start over on this end here. This is a time where if you're unfamiliar, which I don't believe that at this point anyone is, we say something that we're happy about, and the money goes towards no cranky bucks, it's happy bucks. Herb,
to see free water on my lawn.
Yes, I'm happy because we are leaving for Arizona next week for a while and to see our son, et cetera, et cetera. So hopefully the driving will be good for us.
So I have a happy / cranky dollar because I'm going to visit my mother next week. She talked to me the other day, the first time in a month, because I didn't give her my deceased brother's bed, but that's another whole story. So I'm going next week. I'll be gone for a while.
I want to credit Happy Bucks. Sure. I'm happy that I got to spend some time with Bob and Mary Beth and learn more about some of their cool projects and how the club works. Also, another one I'd like to maybe, when I join, advance this technologically so I don't have to find money to put in the club.
So Howard, there's a quick trick. When you also get your quarterly bill, you just put however many bucks you
Okay.
that also works.
Or you can do like me, do an IOU, because I don't use money. So I'm very happy that I finally, after 4 weeks of trying to get the Charter Night goodie bags here, that they're here. And if you ordered something with cake, you have to go over to Nothing But Cakes. I think there are 3 of you. But everything is complete and it was very interesting project that I brought upon myself. But it was fun. It was fun, and I think it's doable again sometimes.
By somebody else.
No, I didn't have.
So how much do you end up with for?
5307 net.
Great.
Yeah.
I have a happy. My daughter had breast surgery last week, Friday, and everything came out all right, came off all right, and it looks like she's going to be okay. And it's not fair. She's only 40 years old.
No, my happy buck is for just being here and thank you, Ann, for bringing all the stuff for the.
Good.
I walked uphill
Walked up
2
to it.
ways.
It's snowing all the time.
Okay.
You're in the mountains. It's all downhill.
No, it ain't.
I have a couple of happy bucks. I attended Pets this weekend,
Oh,
and those, anybody who's been a president has done that, and it's very inspiring. And surrounded by equally anxious, worried puppies. And Terry was there, and so that was really helpful.
And she didn't back out, right?
No, she's not backed
She's
out.
been a president before.
I know.
She's been a president.
Yeah.
So she sort of.
It was a different approach, yeah.
Times have changed.
I got a happy buck. I got no control, no say, but I'm happy that Russell Wilson is coming to play for the Denver Broncos. Assuming that all the trades work out and he passes his physical, which he should. He's an upstanding guy, and it should help the Denver Broncos. Happy about that.
16th quarterback.
All right, anyone online with happy bucks? I see Kim's raising her hand.
Okay, we are in Pennsylvania. We had to leave a day earlier than expected on the car trip. All went well, but we wanted to beat the snow. But we're on the baby watch. Nothing is happening yet. But Maribeth, she made the most beautiful crazy quilt for Heather's baby. And unbeknownst to her, it's the colors of the Indian flag, orange, green, and white, and with elephants. And my son-in-law is from India. So beautiful. Thank you, Maribeth. She loves it.
Wonderful. Any other online happy bucks? Oh, Dave, go for it.
Yeah, I have a happy buck. We are buying a new house and it's literally new. They're building it as they go. And so we've been watching it go up a little bit, and they popped the roof on here in this last few days. So that's very exciting for us.
Wow. Fantastic.
Where is it?
Where is it?
Yeah, where is it?
It's in Palisade Park, which is kind of on Colorado 7 and Interstate 25. It's kind of in the northwest corner right there.
Oh, you're gonna be near us, Dave.
Yeah, a lot closer to everybody than I am right now.
Well, that's fantastic. Any other, Terry, you have a happy buck? You just got here, so you must be happy to be here.
I am.
Saw a lot of.
I forgot my money. I don't have $1, but I had a good time at Pat's this weekend. Where's Leslie? Yeah. Although I was very wiped out and I missed the training on Sunday morning. Yeah, but it was fun.
It was all financial stuff, so I just have to,
What's financial stuff?
treasury stuff and rules and stuff.
Oh.
So Dave Turner and I and Mary Beth are going to
Meet on Sunday.
transition some stuff, so that'll be exciting.
Okay.
You don't have to worry about this on next
Yeah.
year, Terry.
Okay.
You get to go to
Are
Pennsylvania,
you
remember?
talking about a different meeting than?
Doesn't sound friendly. You know, you didn't make the training, so you wouldn't know.
You had a meeting on Sunday morning?
Sunday morning at Pets.
You met with Mayor Beth?
No. Next.
Okay, I thought I missed that.
And you're
meeting.
welcome to,
Okay.
anybody is welcome.
Sorry, I just got up.
All right, we'll let you get your coffee in yet. We're gonna jump ahead. No other happy bucks? I didn't see anyone else online. Wonderful. All right, we'll jump right ahead. Actually, before we go there, real quick, Ann, do you want to tell us when meeting's over, how people are gonna grab their bags?
Their name is on each bag, everything is complete. And if you're missing cake, and you have to go over to Nothing But Cakes on Arapahoe, because I could not pick it up last night to get it here. Because I wasn't available, so and I wasn't gonna get involved in the traffic again. So it's all there, and you invoiced everybody?
Everybody has been invoiced. Everyone should have received their invoices last
Yes.
week.
Right, and
And I
you do
emailed
March
the-
31 or something?
Yeah,
Is that
due
the
March
date?
31st.
And there are a few people that live in Denver, so I am delivering to them. Dave, I'm delivering to you, okay?
He gave you a thumbs up.
Okay, so that's it, it's all there, it's all done.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ann. We
Sure.
appreciate it.
Sure.
A lot of work. I'll let you know that I did tell people in the district at the president's meeting that what, was done and how it was done, I very briefly, in our call out. So maybe we'll have people reach out to us and I'll be forwarding them to you so that you can explain the
Oh,
process.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's very doable, replicatable.
Repeatable. All right, well, with that, we'll move forward to our program, and Rob's been on with us the whole time, so he's seen all of the mess that we have. But I also see that Bill's on, so Bill, were you gonna be able to do an introduction for us today?
Maybe. Turns it on and
Let's see.
disappears.
Or wait. All right, I've got no Bill and, but not so bad. I'm pretty sure that Rob is more than comfortable in giving his own introduction. So I'm gonna remove my spotlight and give Rob the highlight here and then bring it on over for the club so that we can all see. But yeah, Rob is coming to us from Dinosaur Ridge, which is an NGO out in Morrison. He'll tell us more about that. And so I'm just really happy to have someone come out and talk to us as someone who I work at the USGS, Rob, so it's exciting to have you here for us. You're now full screen here in our club. So if you would like to get started, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you very much for
have no
having me this morning. Can you hear me okay?
Perfectly.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. So I'm really happy to be invited by you guys and happy to see a group like you organized like this, doing good things for the community. So today, the main thing I want to tell you about is Dinosaur Ridge, of course. I've come to Dinosaur Ridge after 34 years at the U.S. Geological Survey. I retired in 2018.
Oh,
And,
Jay's-
They're laughing because I worked there and I was dancing for you.
Oh, all right. And so a couple years ago in 2020, near pretty much in my backyard down here is Dinosaur Ridge, and I thought they could probably use volunteers, and I started volunteering in 2020. So that's my brief bio. Can you grab my screen and show the slides?
Yeah, you should be able to use the screen share feature in Zoom here. I gave you co-host, so you have all the features of a host. It'll be on the
Okay.
bottom, probably in the toolbar at the bottom of your screen here for Zoom.
Yeah.
Okay.
And can you tell me, sorry, what are you seeing?
We only see you, your face. We have you on full screen here.
If you can see chat.
There we go. We've got your screen sharing. We got it.
Okay.
We're excited, Rob. This looks great. And then you'll probably see that little, there you go. The very top, there's like a little screen with a triangle in it. Left side, looks like a projector screen, pull down screen. You click on that and we'll be good to go.
Okay.
A little,
Sorry.
there you go, right above where your mouse was. You were almost there.
Above the draw, above the word draw.
Oh, right here?
You're right, no.
So,
Darn it.
One more. Go.
uh-oh, that's not what we, yeah, that's, there we go. There we go, jackpot. Perfect, Rob,
Okay.
gotcha.
All right. So can you also see my cursor on the screen?
Yes.
Okay, good. So just to give you a sense of the setting of Dinosaur Ridge, we're looking at it right here. And it's a little kind of lonely ridge set between C470 over here and Highway 93. Golden is up here about 2-3 miles to the north. You can see I-70 crossing off to the north here up into Mount Vernon Canyon. And then Red Rocks is off just about a mile off to the west over here. So this is a real jewel of a site that is really close to the Denver metro area and not too far from you guys. It's the kind of place that is, it's a hands-on experiential kind of site where you need to come and visit to see the evidence of dinosaurs and ancient climates in the rocks as they were found over the last 150 years or so. So our visitor center is located right over here. And then the road going up and over the ridge is where you walk and see the fossil evidence and the geology. And there are parking areas at both ends. So it's easily accessible. There are no cars allowed on this road. So it's a nice, pretty quiet place to see the ancient history up there. So next, so I want to tell you just briefly, I want to touch on why this ridge is here. So we're going to look at one simple cross section, which is a slice through the ridge, and to look at the rocks that are inside the ridge and then below the ridge. And that's shown here. So we're looking north. Dinosaur Ridge, the top of it is over here. 470 going through the valley here. Highway 93 over here. So west on the left, east on the right. So the ridge has mainly two rock formations that contain evidence of dinosaurs. The light tan rock here is a Dakota formation. It's about 100 million years old. It has track evidence in it. And then below that, it's about 150 million years old. We have the Morrison formation, this green rock. And over on this side of the ridge is where we have the bones, fossils in the rock, and some track evidence also. So two main formations there that form the ridge. One of the big things we offer at Dinosaur Ridge is education to the public through a variety of means, including tours for adults and families, tours just for school kids. But we're also, the Dinosaur Ridge came together in 1989 as, in some sense, a strong sense to preserve the fossil evidence. As you can see behind the kids here in the rock, this slab of sandstone. So education and preservation are really important underlying principles for Dinosaur Ridge. We get about 250,000 visitors per year. And last year we were back up to this normal amount after a little bit down in attendance during the pandemic. And here we're looking back up toward the ridge again from the north. And here's that road that you walk up here. And so the ridge is accessible through tours that you can arrange through the visitor center down here. You can also just stroll on your own for free. There's and walk up and take your time. There's signage along the way that explains some of the features that you'll see in the rocks and the evidence of the dinosaurs. So there's a variety of ways to see the ridge there. The main mission of the ridge is to educate, as I mentioned, and we want to try and convey and inspire the wonder that the people that work at Dinosaur Ridge feel about this ridge. It's this window into a world about 100 to 150 million years ago that is interpreted from the rocks. And so it just gives you a look back to an age when the dinosaurs were doing pretty well, but for several million years. They existed before the current Rocky Mountains came up. So the landscape looked a lot different back then. Let's talk a little bit about some of the dinosaurs and fossils that you'll see at the ridge when you visit there. The general overview of my talk is shown here. I'm going to talk about how the ridge was discovered a little bit, some of the physical evidence for the dinosaur history. We'll talk briefly, a little more detail about the education programs and ridge projects, and then some of our long-term goals. This dinosaur model in the background is one of the dinosaurs we think was on the ridge. Unfortunately, all we have from this dinosaur on the ridge are his footprints at the world famous trackway site there. But as you can imagine, there are paleontological experts who focus on footprints, and that's all they do all around the world. So as you can imagine, they can glean a lot of information about the types of dinosaurs just from footprints. This is another view of that dinosaur here on top. It's a plant-eating dinosaur, probably an Iguanodon-like dinosaur. And the footprint indicate on the track side up there that this dinosaur probably traveled in herds with young ones and adults. We see different size footprints on the track site. wandering around an ancient beach environment about 100 million years ago. There are also footprints of a relatively small ostrich-sized predator shown here, Ornithomimus, that we see a few of his tracks around walking on the beach roughly at the same time as these plant eaters. So this guy has claws and some teeth, and he was probably maybe picking on the smaller ones. This is another view of the track site. It's paleontologists love this site. It's one of the best in North America, voted #1 by paleontologists. There are over 250 footprints at the site shown in the background. You can see these three-toed features. You can see the different size footprints in this view, as well as the, over here is a good view of that narrow-toed predator footprint. So they were walking all over this ancient beach environment about 100 million years ago. And this evidence for the beach environment comes from what we see in the rocks where these dinosaurs made these footprints. Moving on to the other site around the west side of the ridge, this track site here is on the east side of the ridge. There are no bones here at this site. On the west side, we have another footprint site called the bulges, where you can see a cross-sectional view of what are very likely footprints from a long-necked dinosaur like this called an Apatosaurus, and there's a car and a human for scale. The kids have their hands on the bottom of this footprint. It's a depression made in this soft silt and clay about 150 million years ago as he was walking along. And so these are undisturbed siltstone, sandstone layers coming in. And then this is the footprint here. And it's, as you can see, it's about 3 feet across there. So the other couple of dinosaurs that are found on the west side in the Morrison are the Allosaurus. He's a T-Rex-like guy, but he lived before T-Rex, about 50 million years or so, but still pretty menacing looking. He's got claws. He's got longer arms than T-Rex, interestingly, but he was on the prowl. At the same time, the Stegosaurus was walking around. The first Stegosaurus bones ever identified were found at Dinosaur Ridge in 1877 by a geologist who was working at a school in Golden that became the Colorado School of Mines. And he had geologic training, came down to a site very close to where we're looking at here. This is the bone bed site again. There are fossilized dinosaur bones in the rock behind the speaker there. He was doing some mapping in 1877, looking at these geologic formations, the Morrison, the Dakota, which had been identified previously, but no one had mapped them in detail. And he stumbled upon dinosaur bones on the ground surface. He wasn't an expert in dinosaurs, but he was able to recognize that they were not, they were unusual features, and he got help from, eventually from paleontologists at Yale University to help identify the bones that he was finding at several locations in the Morrison Formation there. So here's a picture of Arthur Lakes here on the left. He made sketches of his sites and his bone digs and watercolors. he worked here for about 2 years and got as much bone material as he could out of the rock. Some of it was too difficult to remove from the rock without destroying the fossils. So that's why we still see some in that bone bed site today, fortunately remaining for visitors that can come along and view these bones in the rock. The track site here again is on the east side of the ridge. It's accessible from about 1/2 mile from the visitor center. You can walk right up to it. And so we're looking at, again here, 2 types of dinosaur tracks. We have the larger footprints of the Iguanodon walking along in this direction. And then we have crossing this footprints, we have the bird-like, ostrich-like dinosaur footprints there. So just another scene of that close-up view of the dinosaur footprints there. The Dinosaur Ridge has expanded its efforts since it first organized in 1989. It is on the left. We get some funding from the SCFD every year. We write proposals to continue those grants. We've added museums on both the west and east sides for the public to see displays, especially for those who maybe can't walk up the ridge. The museum gives you a good sense of what you'd find on the ridge if you went up there in person. And then we also have expanded and are helping to preserve fossil trace evidence of dinosaurs up in Golden at a site called Triceratops Trail, which is another free outdoor dinosaur exhibit. And there goes those titles, sorry about that. The different ways to see the ridge, of course, I mentioned you can just walk up there on foot. It's about 1.5 miles to see the whole ridge on foot. We also have public tours in these buses that carry people to the 3 main sites, this trackway, the bulges site where we have those big long-necked dinosaur footprints, and the bone bed. The drivers are also the guides, and they're quite knowledgeable about the features of Dinosaur Ridge, and the people are able to get out at each of those main stops. We also have several programs for kids. We have a junior paleontologist program where school kids that are in the age range of 1st, 2nd, 3rd grade do projects at the ridge and also visit the track site, led by mostly by volunteers. Older kids do a full ridge tour. School groups come. We have hundreds of school kids every year come to the ridge, and they'll be increasing coming up here as the weather gets better. We have, of course, different events that are tied to the SCFD funding, such as the free museum days. We have nighttime events at the ridge where the public is invited to celebrate the ridge. Of course, a big part of Dinosaur Ridge is engaging the public and the visitors that come, either through the tours or at the site. And a lot of the volunteers lead these tours with the school kids and the general public. On the weekends, the ridge is open for reservations for full ridge walking tours where you accompany a volunteer knowledgeable about the ridge over about an hour or so walk from the west side back to the main visitor center on the east side. I'm going to skip that for now. Another way to participate in the Ridge is through membership. There's different ways to be a part of Dinosaur Ridge. This is a view inside the museum on the east side. There's individual memberships, family, friends and family, legacy, lifetime memberships that help sustain Dinosaur Ridge and all the activities that go there. We're working currently on a number of projects to update the site, to try to maintain keep up the buildings upkeep and stuff like that. We're trying to improve signage at the site. We're working on a Spanish language audio tour, a children's audio tour. Right now, there's an adult audio tour that people can download through one of those QR codes as you get on the ridge, and it walks you through, led by our lead paleontologist at Dinosaur Ridge. We're also working on a stairway and viewing deck at a very interesting site at Crocodile Creek that will expand access to other tracks and evidence of a tidal channel at the site that was going on about 100 million years ago when the site was very close to an interior seaway. We're working on the website constantly. Augmented reality site, we're working on that. Podcasts are also ongoing. Some of the long-range plans are focused on a number of things, including trying to preserve these footprints at the track site, which are exposed to the weather and have shown some evidence of erosion just since they were exposed in the late 1930s as when the road along and over Dinosaur Ridge was built, the tracks were discovered. But just in that 80 or so years, we're starting to see some degradation of the footprints. We are putting a material on the footprints in coordination with Jefferson County, who owns the land at Dinosaur Ridge. And this material helps the visitors see the footprints and does offer some preservation enhancement there. But we're working with Jefferson County on other ways to save these footprints for future generations. A new visitor center is a real long-term goal. Currently, the facility is housed in a small set of buildings, and we'd like to, as the population grows, we'd like to improve that visitor center situation. So, as I said at the beginning, it really is a site that calls out to people to come and visit this site, to experience this amazing window into the past. So I really do encourage you to come out, do a tour, maybe as a group. The Rotary Club there, Flatirons, could do an event. There are places to have a picnic and things like that. That's certainly the main message I want to get across, is to come and see us. So other ways to be engaged, of course, are to volunteer. If anybody, I know you guys are a little bit far away to have that make any sense, but we're always looking for volunteers, as you can imagine. So I think that's my last slide. And so we want to leave time for questions. Does anybody have any questions right now on anything I've talked about?
Okay. I grew up in Lakewood High School in the late 50s, and this was Rooney Ranch Road, and we just scrambled all over those rocks all the time. And I can imagine that's why it needs to be preserved.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yep, that may have had some impact on it. The road was open until, it's West Alameda Parkway, and it was open until about 2008. And now it's closed. Yeah,
I was glad to know that it closed because it's an amazing site and it was really fun to just go up there and like I say, just scramble all over it. It's just unbelievable.
yeah. I just love seeing the kids come to the site, and even our plastic models at the visitor center, which are almost life-size. They get out of their cars and the parents are maybe a little weary from some trip they've taken, and the kids come out and they're just bursting and pointing at the models. Same thing with the track site. You're not allowed, of course, anymore to get up on the tracks, but you can still touch them down here. We do allow some access to be able to put your hands on these footprints down here.
Oh, we have another question in the room. I think Maribeth was next.
No, there's a commercial entity bringing life-size dinosaurs supposedly to
Jurassic
Western, yeah, to the Western stock, whatever. Is Dinosaur Ridge at all affiliated with that, or is? Can you talk about
I saw that news article a couple weeks ago too. I don't know. I don't think so. A lot of times we'll have, when there are events like that, we do send volunteers out to set up a table at an event to let people know about Dinosaur Ridge. So I just haven't heard anything about any coordination with that event. Has anybody else been to Dinosaur Ridge? And
Oh, quite a few.
Oh, we've got a big show of hands in here.
yeah,
Never been there.
Me neither.
Oh, I've lived in Arvada. I've lived here a long time.
yeah.
And what kind of rocks?
We
For
have
most
a,
people, it's one of those things. It's in your backyard, and
Yeah.
you don't even. Sometimes you don't look closely in your own backyard, but there it
hey,
is.
Rob, we have an online question from Suzanne Ginger. Suzanne, if you wanted to unmute, please do.
Okay, thanks. Hey, we have Dinosaur Ridge. Are there other examples of where dinosaurs trekked across Colorado? I mean, why did this ridge survive as opposed to nothing else?
Yeah, there are other sites. So one reason that this site is so prominent is because of the good exposure of the track site and the bones on the other side of the ridge. And also the efforts of the original group that came together in 1989 to promote, educate, and preserve this site, coordinating with Jefferson County. So that this rock formation, I'm going to go back. So Dinosaur Ridge here is the hogback, we call it. It kind of, this ridge, rough ridge kind of looks like a hogback, I guess. I've never seen a hogback like that, but
Looks like a dinosaur.
So this formation, these formations actually run along the Front Range all the way up into Boulder, north of Boulder a little ways, but it's discontinuous from Boulder all the way down into New Mexico. So for example, 100 million years ago, when these rocks were flat, they were tilted up later when the Rocky Mountains came up on the west side over here. But this formation, the Dakota and the Morrison, are both intermittently appear along the Front Range from Boulder to New Mexico. And paleontologists have found tracks and fossils in other locations down in Canyon City, near Pueblo and Boulder. And even up in the, just north of I-70 here, there's a big road cut, and there's just north of there, there's evidence of dinosaurs right next to the freeway up there. So they're just a little more hidden and not as accessible as this one is with the road and walkway.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we've got another question in the room from Bob Slider.
Could you explain the importance of that thrust faulting that's in there? You showed it on your cross section, because as you go into the Fort Hays and the Dakota, those are the primary oil producing sands in the eastern plains, and they're thrusted out here. You can see the black line. That's the first part of the thrust fault, and another line to the south, to the east, that or down. That's the other thrust fault. But the Dakota was the primary producing oil and gas sand in the DJ Basin that had two zones in it. And then you're coming up now into the Niobrara, into the lower two sands in that. That's what's being produced now, and that's in the Fort Hays Mineral. And as you come up that fault, what you've done is thrown older rocks over younger rocks. And I want people to realize that behind NCAR, there's an outcrop of the Fort Hays, and you can get clams out of that, the size of turkey platters.
Huh, I didn't know that. Yeah, so this is the Golden Fault that we think was active when the Rocky Mountains were coming up about 55 to 65 million years ago. And so these rocks were tilted up in that process, and the Golden Fault was probably producing some big earthquakes at that time. We think it's quiet now, no longer an active tectonic feature. I don't know, as it sounds like you're in the oil business. I don't know as much about the Denver Jewels Basin and the oil deposits, but near Dinosaur Ridge, they're just to the south here of Dinosaur Ridge. These rocks continue, and the highway going 285 going up to Bailey, and that road cut through this same formation, there are oil seeps right next to the road there. So that, yeah, that showing that connection to those younger rocks and the oil in those formations.
There was a well that was drilled right outside of that opening of that thing. It went down on the other side of the fault into the Basal Dakota. They found oil at that site. But
okay.
Much.
And it came right like through here like that?
Yeah. Right where it comes down. It went down underneath the fault and it found oil, and they built an apartment building over it. So, you know, it's amazing what you can find in Basal Dakota, but I just want to let you know about that fossil site behind NCAR. You can't get it into it now. You might be able to, but huge Inoceremus clams in their hole. The shell is preserved and everything, and so you can get one out the size of a dinner plate, and if you crack the edge of it off, it smells like gasoline.
Wow.
So it's for you.
Wow.
Hey, Herb, I just up a minute ago too. Did you have a question?
Well, of course, there's the Dinosaur National Monument in northeast Colorado.
Northwest.
Northwest.
Another question, Joe?
Yeah.
The Florissant's also a really great fossil bed site.
Yes, I haven't been there myself, unfortunately. You know, your previous questioner commented that Dinosaur has evidence of dinosaurs, obviously, and they're in fact the same formations essentially over there in Dinosaur in Northwest Colorado as found here. The Morrison, this green formation, and I think the Dakota is over there too, and near Vernal, Utah. So it just showing that at that time, 100 and 150 million years ago, the Colorado was much different, and these deposits were getting laid down in completely different environments all across the West, Utah, Colorado, Wyoming.
Nevada even.
And-
Yeah, they've got the Ichthyosaur State Park in Berlin in Nevada, which is also part of it.
Okay,
That one has over 100 ichthyosaur fossils you can go see, and they built a lodge over them, and you can just go in and just like, they're all laying dead on top of each other.
wow.
Outside of Rapid City, South Dakota, it's much more recent, but the mammoth site is incredible. I mean, you can see like mama mammoth. Yeah, with
Yeah.
babies, because they all died in getting water or something. I can't remember.
I mentioned that Dinosaur Ridge now has another site up in Golden, right on the edge of the Mines campus, and it's called Triceratops Trail. The rocks are slightly younger there. We're looking at rocks that are about 65 million years old, just before the big meteor impact. And so it's track site again, with probable tracks of T-Rex in Golden, as well as pretty certain Triceratops tracks as well. It's right next to the Fossil Ridge Golf Course, if you know where that is. Apt name, yes.
Do we have any more questions here in the room? Got a couple minutes left.
Yep, Susan Ginger raised her hand. Suzanne.
That's
Yes. Sorry, I like dinosaurs, and it's enjoyable to hear you. Was there any evidence of airborne dinosaurs or any nesting in these particular locations?
I know. There aren't any at Dinosaur Ridge. Within the formation, just a little story. In the museum, we do have a model of a Pteranodon, a pterodactyl-like dinosaur. So this formation out here in the valley is the Pier Shale, and it's a seafloor deposit. So these deposits out here were laid down under maybe several hundred feet of water. So about 90 million years ago, we think there were bird-like dinosaurs flying around over the sea, fishing and stuff, but there's no evidence of their fossils at this site.
Thanks.
Well, with that said, we really want to thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
It's been really not just informative, but also entertaining, and your knowledge is really great. So clearly we have an amazing bureau at the US government to handle all this geology.
Clearly.
We do have a token of our appreciation for you. So I don't know if you ever make it around Boulder or Lakewood, let me know. I've got an office on the Federal Center and I can meet you, and I have an office up here. But we have a token. It's a paperweight of a globe with the Rotary logo on it for you. So please reach out to me through that email, and then I'll get one to you. But yeah, again, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. We're going to put this online, and I'll send the link back up to you as well, so that you all can share it at Dinosaur Ridge as one example of presentations you've been given. And today your numbers were quite high, about 40 people attending, so it was a good one.
Oh, good. That's
That's
good.
pretty much our home club. We had a really good turnout today. Again, thank you, Rob. And for everyone else in the meeting, like we said earlier, Anne has bags and bags of your stuff with your name on it. So definitely look for that if you're expecting, any of your take homes from your bids or your purchases. And a lot of booze. And with that, it's Wednesday. It's Rotary.
Hey, Henry. Gotta try to see if you can get some of that coffee.